Welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. In this episode, we're going to be talking about one of the world's top forwards from women's football, the Australia captain and Chelsea player, and first female player to ever feature on the global front cover of the game FIFA. Of course, we're going to be speaking about the terrific Sam Kerr. Before we do some shout-outs and some messages, I need to ask you to make sure that you've hit the follow or the subscribe button wherever you listen to the podcast, whether that's Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google, or wherever it is. There's two reasons for that. Number one is it helps other people find the podcast in the charts, and number two, you'll never miss an episode if you've hit that button. So please do make sure that you're following or subscribing wherever you listen. Right then, let's do some shout outs and some messages. The first one is a big shout out and also a happy 10th birthday to Ibrahim, who will be 10 this Sunday, the 26th of March. He's a big Mo Salah fan and a big Mbappe fan and listens to the podcast with his younger brother Ayub. So hello to both of you. I hope you have a really good birthday on Sunday and I hope that you really enjoy this episode as well. The next one is from Joseph in Walthamstow, and it says, "Dear Darren, I love your podcast and I listen to every episode." Well, thank you very much. Please can you add these players into your list, as they are some of my favourites. Thomas Partey, Alexander Zinchenko, Martin Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus. Thank you, and that is from Joseph in Walthamstow, who's age 7. Thank you very much for your recommendations, Joseph. I've added all of those to the list, and I hope that you enjoy this episode as well. And the last one says, "Hi Darren, my name is Jonah and I love your podcast. I listen to it all the time. And my favourite episode was the one about Aaron Ramsdale. I support Arsenal and I play for Longleven's Lions under-8s team in Gloucester. Please can you do an episode on the year Arsenal went unbeaten in 2003-2004, the Invincible season, or an episode on Thierry Henry or Dennis Bergkamp. Thanks so much, from Jonah." Well, thank you very much, Jonah. I did cover the Arsenal Invincibles in an episode just the other day, and I've got to tell you that your message inspired me to cover that in that episode. So thank you very much for that, and also thank you for your other recommendations. Thierry Henry is on my list already, and Dennis Bergkamp I didn't think of, but that is a super suggestion. If you want to send a message for a shout out to your football team or to put a request in, you can do so by sending an email to footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com. Also, in a few weeks we're going to do another question and answer session, so make sure you send your questions in via voice note to the email address. Right then, let's get on with this episode, shall we? About the brilliant, the phenomenal, the wonderful Sam Kerr. Sam Kerr was born in a place called Perth, which is in Western Australia. Sam is of Indian heritage, something which she is immensely proud of. Like some of the other footballers we have spoken about, Sam was brought up in a family where sport was very important. She had some sporty people in her family, which included champion jockeys, professional footballers in Australian football leagues, and professional boxers. It was inevitable that Sam would carry on the family tradition and go on to be a successful sports person. Sam recalls growing up in a competitive household. Her dad would have her and others in the house playing some sort of game, and being competitive was always a natural thing in the Kerr family. A favourite in the house when Sam was growing up was cricket. She would play for hours and hours and hours. Her and her family couldn't get enough of it. One of the most inspiring moments for a young Sam Kerr was the Australian Olympics in the year 2000. In particular, a very special race with a very special Australian athlete called Cathy Freeman. Sam was just 7 years old then and was so inspired by the Olympics that she wanted to be an Olympian. Sam started playing football around 10 years old, but it's not the sort of football that we speak about on this podcast. It was Australian football, Aussie rules. If you're not too sure what that is, it's a sport which can sometimes be mistaken for rugby, but it's different in many ways. Although they play with an egg-shaped ball, they play on an oval pitch, and it's a really, really tough sport. Sam played Aussie rules football for a couple of years, but when she reached 12 years old, she wasn't allowed to play with the boys any longer, and it was time for a new sport. It was time to play football, or as it's known in Australia, soccer. It took Sam a while, but eventually she got used to playing football, or soccer. Ball control was something which took a while for her, but she got it in the end, and at a young age she was showing herself to be a very good footballer. One day, a scout from the state team was advised to come down to watch an amazing young girl called Sam. She is special, he was told. There's something about her. You've got to come and see her. So the scout went down to watch the boys' team which Sam played in, but he couldn't spot her. And the reason he couldn't spot her is because she had a really, really short haircut and she was mistaken for being a boy. Once he knew who she was, he quickly realised how talented she was. And after watching for a while, he asked Sam to come and try out for the state youth team. And do you know what she said? No, I'm okay, thanks. The scout couldn't believe his ears, and after having a chat with her mum, Sam decided to go and try out. She said no initially, because at the time football was just about having fun and nothing else. She really didn't see it as a future. Sam passed a trial with flying colours and was offered a position on the side. At 16 years old, Sam was a part of the Australian side who won the Asian Cup. And at 17, she was picked to be a part of a team to play in the Women's World Cup, which was being held in Germany. Australia made it to the quarter-finals and were knocked out by Sweden. Regardless of how far they got, Sam had gained some valuable experience. Although Sam had won a major tournament and played in a World Cup by the age of 17, it wasn't until after the Germany World Cup that the realisation sunk in for her that she realised football was something that she really wanted to go for. Something she wanted to make a career out of. Sam went on to play for football teams across the Australian and American football leagues, including Sydney FC, a team in New York called Western New York Flash, and Perth Glory back at home in Australia. And in 2015, another World Cup came around, and this time it was in Canada. Australia beat Brazil, who were one of the top teams in the tournament, and they made it to the quarter-finals. But they were knocked out of the competition by Japan. This time, because Sam was fully invested in football, it really hurt her. One of the things Sam said about herself, though, is that she always got herself up, and she always goes again. That's just the person that she is. Sam plugged away, working her socks off, scoring cracking goals in the American football leagues, and made a name for herself as a chance-creating and goal-scoring machine. And in 2019, Sam was ready to enter her third World Cup, and this time she was the captain of her country. It's an amazing achievement and a moment to be proud of for anyone. Australia made it to the last 16, but they were knocked out on a penalty shootout, and Sam misplaced a penalty, sticking it wide. But as Sam said, she had to get up and go again, because that is the person that she is. And in 2020, Sam joined Chelsea and scored over 80 goals in 100 games. Some of them have been super special. There was one just the other day when an amazing ball was dropped into the penalty box. She controlled the ball with so much skill and then scored the most amazing goal. The crowd went berserk. And in 2022, Sam became the first female footballer to feature on the global cover of the game FIFA, alongside Kylian Mbappe. So at the age of 29, Sam Kerr has played in 3 World Cups, captained her country, is the most successful female Australian footballer of all time, and the top scorer of all time. She's won major trophies across the globe, and she's done all of this because every time she got knocked down, she got back up again. I hope that you've enjoyed listening and learning about the career so far of the brilliant Sam Kerr. And remember, if you know somebody who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time. Oh, and remember, hit that follow button.